Watch how the room changes when someone truly powerful enters. They don't announce themselves. They don't demand attention. They simply exist, and the entire social hierarchy rearranges itself around their presence. Today, you're going to learn why silence is the ultimate weapon of high-value individuals, and how they use it to control social hierarchies after being disrespected. Most people reveal their hand the moment someone challenges them. But you're not most people. You're about to master the art of silent dominance. In every social group, workplace, or gathering, there exists an invisible ladder. Most people spend their entire lives climbing desperately, making noise, proving their worth through words and reactions. But the truly powerful, they don't climb. They position themselves so strategically that the ladder builds itself beneath their feet. When disrespect comes their way, and it always does, they don't defend their position. They use that moment to solidify it. The average person thinks hierarchy is about who speaks the loudest, who has the best comeback, who wins the argument. This is peasant thinking. Real hierarchy is about who controls the temperature of the room without saying a word. It's about who can make others question their own behavior simply by remaining unmoved. When someone disrespects you in front of others, they're not just attacking you. They're testing the entire social structure. They want to see if you'll crack, if you'll descend to their level, if you'll prove that you're just another player in their petty game. Here's what the weak do. They take the bait. They fire back immediately. They defend their reputation with words, explanations, justifications. They think they're protecting their status, but they're actually destroying it. Because the moment you engage in a verbal battle with someone beneath you, you've already lost. You've acknowledged them as an equal. You've given them the promotion they were seeking. But watch what happens when someone truly high-value faces disrespect. The room goes quiet, not because they've been defeated, but because everyone is waiting to see how power responds to challenge. And when that response is silence, when it's a cold, calculating stare that seems to look right through the offender, something shifts. The disrespect doesn't land. It bounces off like rain on marble. And suddenly, the person who threw the insult realizes they're standing alone in a spotlight they never wanted. This is the first law of social hierarchy control. Never dignify disrespect with an immediate response. The moment you react emotionally, you've handed over your power. You've let someone else dictate your behavior, your emotions, your energy. But when you remain silent, you keep all the cards. You maintain your position above the fray while they thrash around beneath you, looking increasingly desperate with every word they speak. You see, in any social hierarchy, there are unspoken rules about who responds to whom. The king doesn't argue with the jester. The CEO doesn't defend himself to the intern, not because they can't, but because doing so would break the very structure that keeps them in power. When you're truly high value, your silence isn't weakness. It's a reminder of your position. It's a statement that says, this person is so far beneath me that I won't even acknowledge their attempt at relevance. But here's where it gets interesting. Your silence doesn't just protect you, it actively works to elevate your status in the eyes of everyone watching. Because people are always watching. Every social interaction is a performance, and the audience is taking notes. When they see you remain composed under pressure, unmoved by insults, unshaken by disrespect, they're witnessing something rare. They're seeing real power in action. Most people have never seen this before. They're used to drama, to back-and-forth arguments, to emotional outbursts. But when they witness true composure, it creates a kind of awe. They start to wonder what you know that they don't. They start to question what kind of inner strength allows someone to remain so calm under attack. And in that wondering, in that questioning, your status rises, not because you fought for it, but because you demonstrated it. This is the paradox of power. The less you chase it, the more it comes to you. The less you defend it, the stronger it becomes. When someone disrespects you and you respond with silence, you're not just refusing to play their game. You're revealing that you're playing an entirely different game, one they don't even understand exists. Think about the most powerful people you know, either personally or historically. When faced with criticism or disrespect, do they rush to defend themselves? Do they engage in public arguments? Do they lower themselves to trade insults? Of course not. They let their position speak for itself. They let their results do the talking. They understand that engaging with every critic would be like a mountain arguing with the wind. But let's talk about what's really happening in these moments of silent response. While the person who disrespected you is talking, revealing their emotions, showing their hand, you're gathering intelligence. You're learning about their insecurities, their motivations, their pressure points. Every word they speak in anger is information you can use later. Every emotional outburst reveals a weakness you might need to exploit someday. This is why silence is not passive. It's the most active thing you can do. While they're performing, you're studying. While they're reacting, you're planning. While they're burning energy, you're conserving yours. And all the while, your status in the room is growing because everyone can see the difference between someone who is controlled by their emotions and someone who controls their emotions. The truly sophisticated understand that social hierarchies are built on perception, not reality. People don't follow you because you're actually the most capable person in the room. They follow you because you appear to be. And nothing creates the appearance of power like the ability to remain calm when others are losing their minds. When you can stand in the center of chaos and remain unmoved, people start to see you as the eye of the storm, the stable force around which everything else revolves. Here's what most people don't realize about disrespect. It's often a test, not just of your emotional control, but of your understanding of social dynamics. The person disrespecting you might not even realize they're doing it, but they're probing. They're trying to figure out where you fit in the hierarchy. Are you someone who needs to defend themselves? Are you someone who can be rattled? Are you someone who will descend to their level? Or are you someone who operates from a position so secure that their words can't touch you? Your response, or lack thereof, answers all these questions instantly, and not just for them, but for everyone watching. In that moment of silence, you're communicating volumes. You're saying that you're not threatened by their words because you operate from a position of strength they can't even comprehend. You're demonstrating that their opinion of you is so irrelevant that you won't waste energy addressing it. But here's where the real mastery comes in. After you've established your position through silence, after you've let the disrespect fall flat, after you've shown everyone in the room the difference between your composure and their chaos, then you have choices. You can continue to ignore them completely, which often drives them to even more desperate attempts to get your attention. Or you can respond, but on your terms, in your timing, with the precision of a surgeon rather than the wildness of a street fighter. When high-value people finally do respond to disrespect, it's never immediate, never emotional, never defensive. It's calculated, it's strategic. It's designed not just to address the disrespect, but to use it as an opportunity to further establish dominance. They might wait hours, days, or even weeks. They might respond publicly or privately. They might address the person directly or simply make moves that render that person irrelevant. The key is that they respond from a position of power, not weakness. They respond because they choose to, not because they have to. And this choice, this control over timing and method, is what separates those who merely react from those who truly rule. Let me tell you what happens to the person who disrespected you when you respond with silence. At first, they might feel victorious. They might think they've gotten under your skin, that they've proven something. But as the silence stretches, as you remain unmoved, as life continues around them while you maintain your position, something changes. Doubt creeps in. They start to wonder if their words had any impact at all. They start to question whether they matter to you at all. This doubt is corrosive. It eats at their confidence. It makes them second-guess their position in the hierarchy. Because if they can't even get a reaction from you, what does that say about their importance? What does that say about their power? They realize, perhaps for the first time, that they've been playing a game where they don't even register as an opponent. And here's the beautiful part. While they're consumed with doubt and self-questioning, you're moving forward. You're building, creating, advancing your position. You're not stuck in the past, replaying the disrespect and planning your comeback. You've already moved beyond it. You've treated it as what it was, a minor inconvenience unworthy of your sustained attention. This forward momentum, this ability to remain focused on your goals while others are distracted by petty conflicts, is another marker of high value. People notice who gets bogged down in drama and who rises above it. They notice who wastes time on arguments and who invests time in advancement, and they adjust their respect accordingly. But let's address the elephant in the room. Some of you might be thinking, doesn't silence make you look weak? Doesn't it make you appear as if you can't defend yourself? This is the thinking of someone who doesn't understand power dynamics. In the short term, some people might interpret your silence as weakness. Let them. Their misunderstanding becomes your advantage. You see, when people underestimate you, they let their guard down. They become careless around you. They reveal information they shouldn't. They make moves they wouldn't make if they truly understood who they were dealing with. Your apparent weakness becomes a weapon. Your silence becomes a trap. And when the time comes to act, when you finally reveal your hand, the impact is devastating precisely because it was unexpected. This is the long game of power. While others are fighting visible battles, you're positioning yourself for invisible victories. While they're defending their current position, you're quietly building a stronger one. While they're reacting to today's disrespect, you're planning tomorrow's dominance. The most sophisticated players understand that every interaction is part of a larger pattern. The person who disrespects you today might be useful to you tomorrow. The audience that witnesses your restraint today might become your allies next week. The reputation you build for being unshakable today might open doors you can't even imagine next year. This is why silence is not just about the moment. It's about the message. It's about the brand you're building, the reputation you're crafting, the legend you're creating. Every time you remain composed under pressure, you're adding another layer to the perception of your power. Every time you refuse to be drawn into petty conflicts, you're elevating yourself above the common fray. People remember how you handle disrespect. They remember who stays calm and who loses control. They remember who rises above and who gets dragged down, and they adjust their behavior accordingly. Over time, as your reputation for unshakable composure grows, something interesting happens. People stop disrespecting you. Not because they suddenly like you more, but because they learn it doesn't work. They learn that you're not someone who can be rattled, manipulated, or controlled through emotional provocations. This is the ultimate victory. Not winning individual battles, but making future battles unnecessary. Not defending your position, but making your position unassailable. Not proving your power, but making your power undeniable. But here's what separates the truly masterful from the merely competent. The best practitioners of this art don't just use silence defensively, they use it offensively. They understand that in a world full of noise, silence becomes a weapon. In a culture of oversharing, mystery becomes magnetic. In an environment of constant reaction, stillness becomes powerful. They use their silence to create curiosity. People want to know what they're thinking, what they're planning, what they know that others don't. This curiosity becomes influence. This influence becomes power. And this power becomes the foundation for everything else they want to achieve. When you master the art of strategic silence, you join a small group of people who understand how the world really works. You understand that perception is reality, that mystery is magnetic, that composure is compelling. You understand that the person who controls their reactions controls the room, and the person who controls the room controls the outcomes. This is not about becoming cold or unfeeling. This is not about shutting down your heart or numbing yourself to the world around you. This is about something far more sophisticated and powerful. This is about becoming strategic in the truest sense of the word. This is about understanding that your emotional energy is not an infinite well that can be drawn from endlessly without consequence. It is a precious resource, perhaps the most valuable resource you possess, and like any resource of true worth, it should be invested wisely, deliberately, and with clear intention. Think of your emotional energy like a high-performance athlete thinks of their physical energy. They don't sprint every mile of a marathon. They don't exhaust themselves in the warm-up before the main event. They conserve, they pace, they choose their moments to surge forward with everything they have. Your emotional responses should follow the same principle. When you react to every provocation, every slight, every attempt to bait you into a response, you're essentially sprinting the entire race. You're giving away your power for free to anyone clever enough to push your buttons. You're allowing others to control your energy expenditure, which means you're allowing others to control you. When you choose your battles carefully, when you decide consciously where to invest your emotional energy and where to withhold it, you maximize your impact in ways that most people never understand. You become like a master chess player who sees not just the current move, but the entire game several moves ahead. Every emotional investment becomes calculated, purposeful, designed to achieve a specific outcome rather than simply to release tension or satisfy the immediate urge to respond. The world is full of people who will try to pull you down to their level, and understanding this dynamic is crucial to your evolution. They'll insult you with words designed to cut deep. They'll disrespect you in ways both subtle and obvious, testing your boundaries and your resolve. They'll challenge you to verbal sparring matches that serve no purpose except to drag you into their arena of chaos. They'll provoke you with the skill of someone who has made a career out of getting reactions from others. But here's what you must understand. They want you to react because your reaction validates their importance in your world. Your anger tells them they matter to you. Your frustration tells them they have power over you. Your defensive responses tell them they've successfully penetrated your armor. Your silence, on the other hand, denies them this validation completely. It's like refusing to feed a fire. Without fuel, it dies out naturally. Your composure in the face of their chaos reminds them, often unconsciously, of the gap between where they are operating from and where you are operating from. This gap is not just about emotional maturity, though that's part of it. It's about fundamental differences in how you view yourself, your worth, and your place in the world. This gap, this distance between your level of operation and theirs, might seem cruel to outside observers, but it's actually necessary for the functioning of any healthy social structure. Social hierarchies exist for a reason that goes far deeper than simple power dynamics. They create order from chaos, bringing structure to what would otherwise be randomness, enabling progress to emerge from what would otherwise be stagnation. These hierarchies are not arbitrary constructions designed to oppress. They are natural organizational systems that allow societies to function, grow, and evolve. When you maintain your position through silent strength, through the kind of composure that speaks louder than words ever could, you're not just protecting yourself from the immediate discomfort of conflict. You're protecting the entire system that allows excellence to be recognized and rewarded. You're upholding the principle that different levels of consciousness, different levels of development, different levels of wisdom should be acknowledged and respected. You're demonstrating that there are consequences to how we choose to show up in the world. The person who disrespects you is often someone who doesn't understand this system at all, or who understands it perfectly but resents their place within it. They may have never learned that respect is earned through consistent demonstration of value, wisdom, and strength. They may believe that all positions in any hierarchy are arbitrary and therefore can be challenged without consequence. Or they may understand exactly how hierarchies work but feel frustrated by their current position, leading them to lash out at those they perceive as being above them. They want to drag you down because your elevation, your composure, your peace, your centered strength reminds them of their own limitations. Your very presence becomes a mirror that reflects back to them everything they wish they were, but haven't yet developed the discipline to become. This creates a psychological discomfort that they try to resolve by bringing you down to their level rather than by elevating themselves to yours. Your silence in these moments is actually a profound kindness, though it may not appear that way on the surface. It allows them to save face while learning a valuable lesson about hierarchy, respect, and the consequences of their choices. It gives them the opportunity to recognize their mistake and adjust their approach without having to recover from the escalation that would inevitably follow if you engaged with their provocation. It preserves their dignity while clearly establishing boundaries, but make no mistake about the nature of this silence. This silence is not weakness disguised as strength, trying to convince itself and others that non-action is actually a form of power. This is not the silence of someone who is afraid to speak up, who lacks the confidence to defend themselves, or who hopes that by staying quiet the problem will simply go away. This is strength so secure in its own foundation that it doesn't need to announce itself with fanfare. This is power so real, so substantial, so unshakable that it doesn't need to be defended against every small challenge. This is value so high, so clearly established, so consistently demonstrated that it doesn't need to be justified to every person who questions it. When you operate from this level of inner security, disrespect becomes irrelevant, not because it doesn't happen, because it certainly will continue to happen, but because it doesn't matter to your sense of self, your mission, or your trajectory. It becomes like rain falling on a mountain. The mountain doesn't argue with the rain, doesn't try to convince the rain to stop, doesn't take the rain personally. The mountain simply continues being a mountain, and the rain either nourishes it or flows away. The truly powerful understand this principle at a cellular level. They know that their worth is not determined by the opinions of others, especially others who have not demonstrated the wisdom, character, or achievement that would make their opinions valuable. They understand that their value is not diminished by the words of the envious, because envy itself is actually a form of recognition. People don't envy what they don't secretly admire or desire. They know that their position is not threatened by the attacks of the insecure, because attacks from insecurity actually highlight the distance between the attacker's internal state and their own. They remain silent not because they have nothing to say, often they could say quite a lot, but because they have nothing to prove. Their track record speaks for itself. Their results demonstrate their capabilities. Their consistent character over time has established their reputation. They don't need to defend any of this against every small challenge because the foundation is too solid to be shaken by surface-level provocations. This is the mindset that creates leaders who inspire rather than demand compliance. This is the mindset that builds empires that last because they're founded on principles rather than personalities. This is the mindset that changes the world not through noise and drama, but through quiet confidence and strategic patience. Not by fighting every battle that presents itself, but by choosing carefully the wars that actually matter, the conflicts that serve a larger purpose, the moments when engagement will create meaningful change rather than temporary satisfaction. Not by reacting to disrespect like a programmed response, but by rising so far above it that it can no longer reach the altitude where you operate. It's like moving from the ground floor where every passing car creates noise and disturbance, to the penthouse where you're so far above the street-level chaos that it becomes just distant background noise that doesn't affect your peace or your focus. As you practice this art, and it is an art that requires practice, patience, and consistent refinement, you'll notice something interesting happening in your life. The quality of people around you will begin to improve naturally. Those who thrive on drama and conflict, who feed off emotional reactions and chaotic interactions, will gradually drift away from your orbit. They'll find easier targets for their provocations, people who will give them the dramatic responses they crave. They'll unconsciously recognize that you're no longer a reliable source of the emotional fuel they need to sustain their patterns. Meanwhile, those who appreciate strength and composure, those who understand the value of emotional maturity and strategic thinking, will be drawn closer to you. They'll recognize in you the kind of leadership they want to follow, the kind of stability they want to be around, the kind of centered strength they want to learn from. This creates a natural upgrade in your social environment without you having to actively push anyone away or recruit anyone new. This natural selection process is one of the hidden benefits of mastering strategic silence. You don't just protect yourself from disrespect and emotional manipulation. You create an environment where disrespect becomes less likely because the people who engage in such behavior naturally filter themselves out of your world. You don't just maintain your position in whatever hierarchy you're part of, you attract others who understand and respect hierarchies, who operate from similar principles, who can become allies and collaborators rather than sources of constant conflict. Remember this fundamental truth: in a world where everyone is shouting, trying to be the loudest voice in every conversation, the person who whispers commands attention. There's something magnetically powerful about someone who doesn't need to raise their voice to be heard, who doesn't need to compete for attention because their presence naturally draws it. In a culture where everyone reacts immediately and emotionally to every stimulus, the person who responds thoughtfully, who takes time to consider their words and actions, stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. In an environment where everyone is constantly defending themselves, justifying their choices, explaining their positions, the person who needs no defense appears invincible. They seem to operate from a different level entirely, one where such defenses are unnecessary because their position is unassailable. Your silence is not empty space waiting to be filled with noise. It's loaded potential, like a bow drawn back with an arrow ready to fly. It's compressed power waiting for exactly the right moment to be released for maximum impact. It's the pause before the thunder that makes everyone stop what they're doing and listen. It's the stillness before the storm that makes everyone aware that something significant is about to happen. It's the calm that makes everyone else realize they're in the presence of something they don't fully understand but instinctively respect. This silence becomes your weapon, but not in the sense of something used to attack or harm others. It becomes your weapon against mediocrity, against the pull of lower-level consciousness, against the temptation to operate from reaction rather than response. This is your advantage in a world where most people have never learned to control their emotional responses. where most people give away their power freely to anyone skilled enough to provoke them. This is your path to the top of any hierarchy you choose to climb, whether that's in business, relationships, spiritual development, or any other area of life. Not through noise and self-promotion, but through the kind of silence that speaks volumes. Not through immediate reaction to every stimulus, but through the kind of composure that demonstrates mastery over your own internal state. Not through constant defense of your position, but through the kind of quiet confidence that makes defense unnecessary because everyone can sense the unshakable foundation beneath it. Use this power wisely, with the understanding that it's not about superiority over others, but about mastery over yourself. Use it strategically, knowing that every moment you choose composure over reaction, you're building something valuable and lasting. Use it to build the kind of power that doesn't need to announce itself, because everyone can feel it the moment you enter the room, the kind of presence that changes the energy of any space simply by being there. The kind of power that doesn't need to defend itself, because everyone knows instinctively that it's unassailable, built on such solid ground that surface-level attacks cannot touch it. This is how you transform yourself from someone who reacts to the world, who is constantly responding to external circumstances and other people's choices, into someone who shapes the world through their very presence, their choices, their example. This is how you become not just a participant in your life, but the author of it. Stay silent, stay strategic, stay powerful,